Welcome back to another video, guys. So yeah, it's been a little while. It's probably been a few weeks now, and yeah, just basically been getting jobs done, slowly but surely, waiting for parts to come in, and yeah, just waiting to sort of get things done on the red car, basically. So what I've been doing is obviously adjusting this this beam here. This is the piece that we're going to replace and put into the car, and then what I've kept doing, if you can see up there, I've actually been constantly putting the anti-corrosion inhibitor all over the chassis leg, that the part that we won't be replacing, just so it's nice and strong, and then we'll be coating it back over. I do need to get some welds on that part on the end of the chassis leg where there's a hole, so it's just there, and yeah, so we need to sort of seal that in and possibly put a captive nut on it of some sort, because that's the second mount for the reserve fuel tank. I believe it's this one down here which had completely rotten off, so yeah, we've got to make up a mount for that, and also we've got to fix this one in with a captive nut as well for the other side. But what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take all that apart, clean it all up, and then I'm going to have to mock up the reserve fuel tank and stick that back in the car, and then we get a good idea of where the mounts need to be, so I can obviously drill them into the new chassis leg. That's the best way it's going to be, obviously, for the best fitment, otherwise I'm just guessing. So yeah, that's one thing that needs doing for the next time we come to it. And yeah, basically I'm just making this video. I've got a bit of an update. So I've done I did last weekend a full service on the white car, so that's completely done. I didn't get to film it because I didn't have enough time or know how long it was going to take me, because it's the first one I've done. Yeah, so we've done a oil change, spark plugs, and we've done the oil drain plug seal. That's been done, and we've done the cabin filter, and we've done the air filter as well. So the oil filter did give me some trouble getting it off the car, and in a result I had to get a screwdriver and actually dent the end of the can and hammer it round. It was an absolute pig of a job to do. The oil filter was completely stuck, and where it was, the position it was in, it just cuts your arms up where you're trying to obviously undo it, and it's just a little bit of a nightmare, but we got there in the end. But I couldn't film it because I just had to get it done. So that's all been done. The white car's fully serviced. The only thing I do have left to do, which is why I bought this, I've bought a little mini pump, multi-purpose pump, because I wanted to change the gearbox oil at the same time, and not knowing where the drain plug was, I was looking around trying to find this drain plug, which is like a little wing nut on the gearbox. So I'll put a picture here. And yeah, basically it's a little wing nut, and the only way I could get to it was I jacked the car up, and you can't physically see it from where I could see it unless you took the wheel off, and obviously where I was doing it I couldn't get to the wheel, and I could feel it with my hands, and yeah, I could only feel it with my hands, but there was no way I was able to refill it. And again, I needed to I needed the car for that evening, so I had to just not do that for then and just skip it. But we have got the oil ready to go. I did buy too much by the sounds of it, because I think you only need about 2 litres for that gearbox. But I bought 5, and I bought all of this from Renault Parts Direct. So I bought all of the official Renault servicing items. So it's all fully well, Renault, if you like, manufacturer spec. So we've got some ELF 75 watt 80, 5 litres. Yeah, like I say, I bought too much oil. From what people have been saying on the forums, it only takes 2 and a bit. So obviously with these gearboxes, if you have one, you'll know that these gearboxes can go. Mine has gone from a previous owner, and the 3rd gear went on it, but that's all been done. So that's all been done by by Renault as a recall. But just as a precaution, it has done about another 35,000 miles since then. I wanted to change the gearbox oil, and like I say, I've got the oil and I've got the pump now. So that will be a job that's soon soon enough at some point when I get the chance to do it, and I'll show you guys how we do that if I can. Like I say, I've put the picture in showing you where it is, and yeah, that's about it really, guys. But I do recommend getting one of these pumps if you can, and then all you got to do is just fill it, and it should just overrun with oil, and it should just drip from it, and you'll know it's full, and just put the plug back in and it should be good to go. It should just be a nice hand tight seal, and yeah, so there should be enough there to really do 2 oil changes. So like I say, we can do another one in the future, because I want this gearbox to, well, last, you know, obviously is my daily, and I want it to be reliable, so I'd rather buy the more of the oil, and we can do another gearbox change of oil, you know, another 20,000 miles from now. So I know people saying, oh, you don't need it, you don't need to do it, but it doesn't hurt. No different than gearbox oil, you know, doesn't hurt to do these more often than not, basically. So if you want it to run, you know, I use mine daily, I use it well, I run it in well, and I drive it as it should be. It should be fast, you know, and drive it hard. So I don't use it for track days or anything like that, but like I say, I like to look after my cars, and I like to look after them well. So yeah, so that's that job done, and like I say, the white car's completely ready to go apart from that. Then the other job I had to do, I did want to get the air conditioning fixed, the climate control that's on the white car. It's never been working since I've had the car, and when I went and bought the car, I just assumed that it was empty and that the guy just didn't bother topping it up. So the first thing I did was obviously go and top it up, try and top it up, and the garage topped it up for me, no problems, and I went away, used it for about 1 or 2 days, and then it just didn't work anymore. So obviously that assumes that there's a leak in the system. So I went back to the garage, told them the situation, and then they put an ultraviolet dye in the system for the air conditioning, and they said it was actually leaking from the seals where you refill it, and the seal, and also the condenser itself, I think either had a split or a slight stone chip in it somewhere, but I haven't taken it off yet to diagnose it. But they've said that's where they could see the ultraviolet light, you know, fluid basically. So to get around that, I've gone and bought another condenser. So we've got another condenser here. Yeah, so we've got a new air conditioning condenser. So we've just got that there. It comes with a little fitting, I believe, up here. So it's just a little fitting that comes with it. And yeah, it's a Nissan's one. That's the code number there, if anyone needs it. I'm assuming this is the correct one for this car, but hopefully I've got the right one. I just basically went off some of the codes and cross-referenced them to other websites and things like that, and hopefully that's the right one. And yeah, so we've got that job to do, put the condenser on, we've got the seals, and then hopefully I'll be able to top it up with the air conditioning. And what I'm going to do is buy some of those cans that you get, I think it's Easy Cool STP refiller that you get from like Halfords, Wilko's, places like that, and I'm going to refill the system myself, and I'm going to show you guys how you do that as well. It'll be my first time doing it, so I'll be learning as I go. And yeah, so there's some jobs, a little bit of update for you guys. Like I say, it's been a little while since I've done a video. And then the other big addition that I've got, you might have seen me walking past a few times, is this big thing. If you're wondering what this is, I'll put a picture here, and you'll see it fully in use, if you like, from the picture for what it is. And it is a tilting car lift. I've always wanted one, and it is obviously with the restriction of the height in here and the mannerism of what I've got in here. Obviously I can't have a 2-car post lift or anything like that in here, and for the cost as well, it was a no-brainer basically. Instead of using a jack and jack stands all the time, it's just a lot easier to use one of these. It lifts the car up in one hit, and you can work on it at much higher, safer heights. You can raise the car up and down, and yeah, like I say, I've always really wanted one of these, and one came up second hand. It looks practically brand new. It's got the odd little bit of scuff on it, but other than that, it looks like it's been used about 4 or 5 times. So yeah, I managed to pick one of these up for the third of the price of what they are brand new. All working, all great. You got the arms there that basically go on top of it, and they're the platforms that go underneath the seals that lift the car up. So, and then I've got some aluminium extenders there because the guy was using it on like a classic car, because you can't use it with a car. The car seals are something like 1200 to 1500 widths that you can use on this ramp, and then obviously he was using it on some sort of Ford Anglia or something that was a lot smaller, so you needed adjusters or whatever. But yeah, we won't be using it on that. So I know the centres for this is 1200. The white Clio is roughly 1500, so it's perfect for these two cars to use this ramp for it. And like I say, it's just a lot easier and quicker to get the car up in the air, and I can do all this work with more space underneath it. When we come to do, like I say, I think the first job will be the condenser, because I need to get the front bumper off. I'm going to change the headlight bulbs because one of them's out on the white car, and then we can change those seals and refill it all in hopefully one day if all goes well. And then just go from there basically. So yeah, it's going to be hopefully a great addition. But what I've come in here for tonight, obviously other than updating you guys with what I'm doing, we have this little cranking arm here, this little rod that goes onto the actual mechanism, and you need like I think it's like a hex bit there that goes into the arm that obviously cranks the actual lift up and down through this worm gear here. So it just goes in this, but obviously one being that arm is probably over 1 metre long, and you can see that is not 1 metre wide, so if you were trying to do it up, you're definitely not going to be able to lift it up on both sides of this car, or even on the drive, because the house is there. So what I'm going to have to do is, and obviously that's quite a slow method as well, it takes ages to crank it up with that. So what I'm trying to do, I hope I've got some tools in here that I bought a while back from Machine Mart, is I need a hex drill bit that has a drill attachment. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a look in here and see if I've got one. If not, I'm going to have to improvise. Right, so yeah, so we need something like that basically, that's got like a hex end that will go in it. So that one's actually too big, so it's looking quite good that we might actually have one of these, which is a H12. Yeah, it's a little bit loose, but it might do the job. H12, so what we got here? We got one there. Right, that's too small. So yeah, we've got one there. Basically it's a H12, S212 or whatever. So we can use that, so that's good, because I was going to go buy one. So that's handy to know. I've just got a drill attachment, because then what you can do is just put it in your drill attachment, and then you can just crank this lift up and down nice and quickly. You don't obviously go too quickly, because it says something about you could damage the gears if you obviously put it on an impact gun, put too much torque through it, and you just strip the threads basically. So you don't want to do anything like that. But yeah, it looks like a really good lift, a really good good little tool to have in the shed, and I'll give my honest review of it obviously after the first time I use it, but generally pretty happy with it, and should make life a lot easier to have. So yeah, there's that. And we should be hopefully coming to do this. It is still during the middle of the week, so I can't really come in here and do any work tonight or anything like that, but I'm hoping to get in here Saturday and Sunday. We're going to get the condenser knocked out for the white car over the weekend, so it's stupidly hot at the minute. It's supposed to be like 25 I think at the weekend, but in here it feels like it's about 40 by the time you get in here midday, so it's like an oven, so it's quite hard to work in here. But yeah, no, that's the plan for a little bit of the future, guys. So yeah, if you like the video, don't forget to leave a like. If you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe, and go back and watch some of the previous videos, some of the projects that we're doing. We've got this great project behind me here, and we're just doing some rust repairs at the minute after it had had a crash. And like I say, I've documented that before, and you can see all that in previous videos, so go and check them out, guys. Some great videos there to see. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.